Hi guys, it's me after some time, a few weeks. I'm sorry for not delivering more episodes, but as you all know, I have recently relocated to Paris and it took me quite some time to land and to adjust myself to this new place. So when I was thinking what to do next for Ammonia Voids, I thought, well, I was just busy with the release of my latest zine Heist together with Robin de Goede. And so I thought let's do an episode on zines and my relationship with them, what is good about zines, what are cool publications out there. I also recently had a few calls with artists who were planning to do some publications of their own. So I always recommend people to start with zines, and I'll tell you why. So let's start. What is a zine? Well, zine can be any kind of publication that is, let's say, mostly handmade, self-made. It's kind of experimental. Doesn't have a big edition, and it's something like artists use to express themselves, to put like a short narrative, a smaller project out there in a way that they prefer. And honestly, I love zines. I'm a big fan of them, and people who know my work, they know that I publish them quite often, or it's actually my main mode of releasing my work, um, because zines allow you to experiment. You can do whatever you want in terms of paper, in terms of size, in terms of the style of printing, and the way you combine images, if they're pasted or if they're just printed on the paper, or just all these different things. So many choices that you can consider and think about, and just play around. And what I also love about zines that you get to collaborate with people that maybe share the same vision as you, or that they understand the way you work. And like in particular, for my latest zine and the one before I did with Robin, we worked with our friend graphic designer Lucas and Rizzo printing studio in The Hague. So I always work with people that I admire their work and see how collaboration can actually make us stronger in a way. Because, if I like somebody's work and I feel like we're in alignment aesthetically and conceptually, then imagine if you all join forces and then you make something together. It can only be cool and amazing, or at least you enjoy the process of making it. Um, so it's a great way to work with other people from different fields or from the same fields, who knows. And why I also love zine is because you don't have this pressure of like producing something that costs so much money, because you are in charge of all the choices. You can see, okay, I have this budget, so I can produce something in this budget. And since it's like a smaller edition, you can still say what you want, within those pages and within the amount of copies you create. Because with photo books, there's often this pressure and a stress. First of all, that the the book has to be super good. That the book has to be successful. You need to raise a substantial amount of money to print, because usually it's an offset print. So that's not a good combo with a small edition. So you have to have a large edition. So you have this pressure to make it a success, to invest. So you have a big risk that what if you don't sell? Then at home you're stuck with like hundreds of copies of books, and it's not a nice feeling then. So those zines take those pressure away, because of course it's easier to sell 150 copies than 1000, especially if you're a starting artist. If you never published a book before, I 100% recommend to start with a zine, because um, it can motivate you to create more without losing money and without feeling bad about not being able to immediately sell those 1,000 copies. Those zines can actually enable you to build your own audience. You can see, you can analyze who actually is interested in your work. And this is how you can also build some kind of fan base. Sounds weird, but like people who will follow your work and who will appreciate what you do and will be like waiting for the next things that you create. Um, um, Instead of just like throwing it out there, 10K copies, super expensive hardcover linen cover book, and you have no idea who is actually buying your work. So in this way, it's a very, very cool, how to say, technique to explore a lot of things about your practice, about your audience, and about your photographs or your work in general. Um, it's also a way for people to understand your way of thinking, which I think is beautiful. For me personally, or a lot of people know that I cannot publish almost anything on Instagram lately because I'm completely shadow banned. I am close to being deleted and blocked or whatever. So I also have to be very careful of what I put on my feed, on my stories. So I have to self-censor myself so that I can exist on Instagram. But for people to really explore the way I think and the way I want my images to be is in my publications. It's like my own universe that I put on the paper, that is usually just in my head. and and it people know it, so I'm very grateful and happy that those people who buy my work, they actually help me to continue publishing in this way, because let's be honest, from zines you're not gonna be a millionaire. It's gonna cover your expenses, and maybe if you get some extra money, you save it for making the next one. So with making books, I would say many times, it's hard to make money, but I don't think that's the purpose of making books. The purpose of making books is to share your art with people, with a broader audience, because not everybody can afford to buy a framed print. Often, though, what I see lately is on book fairs, the zines got, or not zines, but publications got so expensive that I'm like, whoa, it actually costs like a print sometimes. But I understand, like the printing costs, the paper costs, logistics got so much more expensive after COVID. That it's very hard industry to maintain. So we all have to survive somehow, and it's a good sign that there are still people willing to support this industry, because it would be a shame not to have print form, um, tactile ways of engaging with photography or text. And maybe I can show you a little bit of Heist. So this is the latest zine we published with Robin, together with Lucas, who was the designer, and Stencilwerk, this amazing Riso printing studio in the Hague. Again, because of censorship everywhere, I will show just the size that are possible to show. So it has this cover that is kind of openable, like a little hidden narrative there. And I love that, with zines you can just make these random formats, because it's a small edition. You can actually make it because you do everything handmade, whereas with 1,000 edition book, this is very hard to do. So here we also, I will show you what is possible. We made these collages or diptychs based on our works to create this narrative. We were also working together in the dark room to print everything for the special editions. So, it's a lot of handmade work, and it also makes you work a lot together and in the printer, in the dark room. Whereas with making photo books, often you're not so much part of the process. You're a little bit from the distance. You let the professionals do their job, but here you're really kind of in charge, which is super great. I love that. What can I show? What else can I show? There was one maybe that I can show you here. Yeah. You know, and also because you work so much. Wait, let me put a hand there. So like this one, because you work so much like together next to each other, um, some new things come out of it. So like this one we just made during the process, it was like, okay, what if this city like blends into the hotel room, and that's how we made this spread by just sitting next to each other. We're like, oh, this actually looks cool. Let's keep it for the book. Um, so these accidents just happen because you are there and because you're really like in the flow and inside of making the publication yourself. And personally, I love Riso because it aesthetically really works with my analog black and white photography with Robin's too. So you can choose like from all these different printing techniques that work the best for your type of photography. You don't have to only go for classical inkjet printer. Offset, don't do it for small scale publications, otherwise you get broke. But you have like how is it called? You have these thermal cameras that you can try to print with them. You have all these cheap laser printers that can also create this really cool effect. Or all these, just go to like some workshop and try to see how people are printing on what kind of techniques, and then maybe you find the perfect match for your work. That's how I find about Riso, because I don't think Riso can work for everybody either, because it shifts, for instance, with color images, it shifts the colors, so they are different. And I know photographers can be pretty particular about their colors, so if you're not open to this change, it's not the right technique for you. So you have to figure out what is the right one. And so yeah, this was just a little sneak peek into the zine. So if you want to see more, you can find it on my website, in the shop section. And to those who already purchased a copy, thank you so much for your support. As I said, it means a lot to us, and it allows us to make the next editions hopefully soon. Not in the 2 years time like this one, but hopefully the 2 years are worth your time. Anyways, I also wanted to give you some examples of zines. I cannot show any of them because I don't have any of them here, since I moved sadly without my photo books and without my zines. Otherwise, I would still be moving probably. So I left them in Amsterdam. Anyways, I just try to remember the places where I encountered cool zines, or which publications kind of stayed in my head. So as I already mentioned, like the printing house that we work with was Stencilwerk, and they publish amazing Riso scenes. The printer Bertus is super skilled. He can print. I think he showed me one publication was like 12 colors of Riso in one. It was insane craftsmanship that this man has. So I really recommend for inspiration to also check what they do. I will put the links in bio so you can check those profiles or publications. And I also remember in Mexico City, when I was there last year. Was it last year? Yes, last year at the beginning of the year. I randomly encountered like a photo book zine fair. So I went there, and then I ended up spending almost the entire day there because I don't know. I have my theory about this. You know, if you enter book fairs in Europe, you start to see a lot of similarities in the vision, in the ways of making, because we are used to certain things and we like certain things. So culturally, of course, those publications um, are different. So for me, going to this book zine festival, whatever, in Mexico City was like encountering a whole new universe of how do you communicate with design, colors, language, whatever. And so I was in my nerdy world for the entire day, and I came across this one publisher from Mexico City and London, I think. They're called Calaca Press, and their Rizo work is also so on point. They published a lot of cool photographers from the continents. There was a nice project about the lucha libre fighters. It was printed in such a nice way, and they also published kind of like a zine called Erotismo, and it's a zine, of course, about erotic erotic art, not only photography. And it's done in such a beautiful way, so I really recommend you to check them out. And there was other thing online that I often go back to. There's this Instagram profile. I hope it still exists. I didn't check it in quite some time. It's called Japanese avant-garde publications, and they often publish like vintage publications, old, rare copies. And wow, that is like a whole different level, because you have all this different printing, um, different style of graphic graphic design, unusual sizes or spreads. So it's a whole different universe that you can explore, and it's online, accessible to everybody. And I often go there for inspiration, not to copy, but to just think in a different way that I'm used to, because sometimes I feel like I keep on seeing the same thing, same formula on fairs here. So I like to think about my work outside of the box and see what we have done in the past and what other or people from other cultures are doing, and see how it relates to me, or not at all. And that's how I get inspiration for zines or for publications. And I really hope that this video kind of encourage you to dive into zine making, into book making, um, because there is no other way how to present your stream of consciousness in a printed matter better than in a zine, I think. Of course, you can make beautiful exhibitions, but those are also very expensive. So if you're looking for like a cost-effective solution, or like a means of expression, then definitely just do it and make your own scene. I hope you like this episode. I'll be back soon, I promise. And I'll see you soon. Ciao, ciao from Ammonia Void. Bye.